Friends, please subscribe my channel Learn and Study. In this channel you can see BD notes, assignments, activities and question papers and TET syllabus and previous year question papers. Thank you. Friends, today in this video we will see the ICT activity 2 of BD Sem 1. Prepare self-instructional material on any one topic and analyze its effectiveness for individualized learning. Present day social studies teachers are encouraged and, in fact, required to use modern teaching aids to teach social studies in order to make classroom more lively, understandable, and comprehensively to all learners. Social studies have been conceptualized and taught in a variety of ways. When learners are made to see, hear, feel, smell, and even taste, there is a higher degree of getting them and appreciate subject matter taught. The more of the sense of the learner the social studies teacher is able to stimulate and bring to bear on issues taught, the greater would be attainment of stated objectives in the learning domain materials, and a resource can effectively be utilized to accomplish this purpose. Too often, social studies lessons have been described as boring, uninteresting, and unchallenging. This negative and uninspiring state can be turned around through the identification, collection, preparation, and utilization of instructional material and resources. Therefore, it is important for modern society as social studies teachers to teach social studies with a careful selection and use of instructional materials that can be suitably employed by the teachers at all levels to promote effective teaching and learning. Resources which enhance effective learning should include the resources that are able to make permanent impressions on the minds of the learners. Concept of social studies. Social studies is an integrated field of study which focuses on a man in his environment with a view to a sensibilized man with the symbolic relationships or interaction between him or and his environments and equipping him with the intellectual, reflective, or contemplative skills to identify and conquer his life and environmental problems and make his social living worth the bother. Furthermore, social studies inculcates in its client sociality, socially approved and desirable values system and attitudes Mizobi of 2013. Social studies as an integrated discipline brings the social science together, especially at basic education level. At primary school level, social studies lay emphasis on local government and the family after primary school. The subject integrates social science and humanities in order to enhance knowledge of civic. Now we will see meaning of instructional materials and resources. The term instructional materials are used in the context to mean all the resources within the reach of teacher and the learner, which are employed to facilitate teaching and learning. It therefore follows that such resources may be human and non-human provided they facilitate the acquisition and evolution of knowledge, skills, attitude, moral, and value. Instruction materials are indispensable factor in a teaching learning process. This is because ordinary words on verbalization has been found to be inadequate for effective teaching. It serves as a channel through which message, information, ideas, and knowledge are disseminated. They can therefore be manipulated, seen, heard, felt, or talked about the facilities activities. They are anything or anybody the learner turns to for help in his learning process. The instructional materials are all the object things, people and the place used to promote the teaching and learning of social studies. The organized combination and utilization of materials, facilities, equipment and people is to presentation of content for realization of stated objectives. Categories of instruction material and resources. Resources and materials which offer content, for example, charts, graphs, audio recording tools, implementations, print materials of all kinds of globe, maps, painting, and resources in the community. Resource materials for presenting content such as audio, video recorders, bulletin boards, panel boards, slide projectors, computers, televisions. Another grouping of IM by OFUB of 2009 includes human resources, which consist of individual who provides various services in teaching and learning process. They include professional and non-professionals. Non-human resources, which include physical facilities and instruction materials, which serves as tool and devices through which stimuli can be passed or obtained. Projected and electronic media subdivided into software and hardware. This group of materials requires the use of electronic devices. Software materials consist of audio tapes, video tapes, transparencies, slides, flip strips. Hardware materials are audio tapes, records, videotape records, slide projectors, etc. Social studies teaching resources in the 21st century. Some instructional resources are best suitable and effective for school children based on the age and stage development. They are often curious and want to use their sense of touch, vision, and smell. Thus, materials such as pictures, charts, tools, drawing maps, physical features, models, posters, and so on will be very appropriate to transmit instruction to them. At the secondary school level, use of printed materials such as newspapers, textbooks, photographs, and visual materials, globe, and many others will be appropriate for their age. Content for learning and thus objectives of teaching the content. Thus, the following are the breakdowns of instructional materials to be used in the teaching of social studies in the schools. Internet. Social studies teachers can make use of internet to search for the most recent information from all over the world and even make students search for the information themselves from the internet when available at their schools. This will help to enrich the teacher's knowledge as well as the student. iTunes. iTunes is one of the resources that over 800 universities are having access to iTunes sites, and nearly half of these institutions, including Stanford, Yale, MIT, Oxford, distribute their content publicly on the iTunes Store. Audiovisual materials. Radios, televisions are very important instructional resources in social studies, teaching, and learning because of the impact of the value and impression people have on people. Textbooks. It provides the starting point of the learning. It develops the skills of identifying needed information on variety of issues, persons, and process. It also stimulates the thinking interest of pupils. Graphics are two-dimensional materials. Charts are used graphically to illustrate various steps in the introduction process. Charts such as flip charts, strip charts, time and sequence charts, etc. The two-dimensional materials in which the represent information in order to give out a vivid visual impression of the information being conveyed to the learner and the simply complex ideas and concepts. Example: pictorial graphs, simple bars, graphs, maps, atlas, cartoons, comics, posters, billboards are all two-dimensional materials. These materials are ideal for school students considering their age, development, abilities, and capabilities. Improvised materials. Other methods of improvising could be paper pulp making, clay molding, dry or wet molding, and many other. It helps to make the lesson real to the students. It creates opportunity for the students to participate in the provision of teaching materials and help develop their skills of creativity. Library. Library is a good source of getting information of every kind. A social studies teacher can make the best of the library by perhaps organizing study trips to the library to mobilize learners to assist in the collection of some materials and participate in making the material that can be kept at the library for use. Community resources. Community resources are the persons, places, and institutions which desirable enrich social studies teaching and learning, deeper the social studies content and wider the horizon of learners. The community has both human and non-human resources. The human resources are the persons with vast knowledge and skills which can be utilized to enrich the classroom learning experiences. Professional and non-professional like doctors, lawyers, professors, chief or non-human resources include places such as government agencies, physical features, transportations, facilities and historical sites, etc. Utilization of some common instructional materials. According to the Olduvai Social studies teachers need to exhibit skills and understanding in the use of some instructional materials for maximum results. The practical use of few words could be described below. Printed materials. The class textbook is a basic material for the social studies class. However, the nature of the social studies require board and current knowledge. Therefore, the teacher need to expose the learners to other print materials such as encyclopedia, new magazines, pamphlets, poems, supplementary readers. In the using them, teachers should not turn the class into a reading section, even though developing a reading skills is important. These materials should be used to provide organized subject matter for learners to study. Develop the skill of identifying needed information on a variety of issues, persons, and process. Solve identified groups problems to suggest relational solutions. Relational solutions. Stimulate thinking and interest. Way forward. The following recommendations are very important for all social studies teachers to effectively transmit social studies in the 21st century. The use of the most these resources, especially the electrically operated materials, requires skills to operate and maintain the equipment. Mass training of social studies teachers in this area will be quite beneficial. There is the need for the government at all levels to set aside certain percentages of their annual spending on education for the procurement and maintenance of instructional materials. School authorities should encourage social studies teachers with adequate financial and moral support to improvise instructional materials using available local resources. Adequate time should be allotted to social studies to teachers to enable them effectively utilize arrays of community resources available to promote effective teaching and learning in the 21st century. Conclusion. Teachers must ensure that the content of such materials is authentic and accurate, suitably to the learners and cultural environment, free from distortions and bias. More importantly, social studies teachers should combine the use of reading materials with other categories of materials to particularly illustrate and demonstrate process of social studies teaching resources in the 21st century. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe my channel for more videos.